After months and months of planning, I finally get to switch out my craft room into a more spacious room thanks to Ellie getting married. Yay for us. We are going to be spending a lot of time in this craft room, so I feel like it's our room. So are you ready to see this ultimate room makeover? Buckle up, let's get started. I have been very fortunate to be able to have my own room to craft and create DIYs and projects in over the course of the past few years. It's a spare bedroom in our home. However, everything was jammed into one space. My desk alone took up the majority of this room. My closet was overflowing. I was working on a little buffet against the wall. It was a fun room, but I have definitely outgrown it, and it's time to make a change. If you've been with me for a while, you know that my daughter Ellie got married this past winter. We had so many fun parties. We did the bridal shower, we did the wedding itself, and then we also had an open house. So we celebrated big. But now that Ellie is married and moved out, I get to take her room, which is much larger. Now, right now, it is a very blank space, which is fun for those of us that love to design. There's nothing better than thinking about what you're going to do with an empty room. And thought I have. Over the past couple of months, I've had so many ideas, but what has come to my mind over and over again is to put a beautiful wall mural on the wall. You know, the one that's in our foyer with the beautiful birds and branches? It's classy and it brings in some colors. So I thought I want to do something similar. My inspiration for the wallpaper in this room is from Gracie Studios. Have you guys ever seen her wallpaper? It's amazing. It's classic and timeless, and it's also very expensive. So I thought I'm gonna look and see if I can find something similar, but at a much cheaper price. So I looked for a very long time, you guys. Like, we're talking months I looked for this wallpaper. And I finally found some on Etsy. It coordinates perfectly with the wall color in my room. It's got some pretty pink flowers and some gorgeous greenery. I love the trees and the branches. When I unboxed this wallpaper, it was so much better than I could have anticipated. So I am so excited to get this up on my wall. The wallpaper in the foyer was adhered to the wall using some wallpaper glue. It was a little tedious, so this time I went with a peel and stick wallpaper just to see if it was easier, and I can already tell you right now it was much easier. So first we need to prep the wall. I got a damp rag and I wiped this wall down. I want it nice and clean so that our wallpaper adheres well to the wall. Then I measured out where I wanted my wallpaper to be. Now there was one little thing that was in the way, and it was a phone jack. You guys, when's the last time you used a landline? I haven't used a landline in a decade, 2 decades, I don't even know. So this needs to be removed. I just pulled it out. I grabbed some new drywall. I cut it to size. I placed it in there, and then I used some joint compound to cover it up. And then I painted it so it looks like it's just part of the wall. Now that the hole is filled and the wall is clean, we can begin to add our wallpaper. Now what I did was I peeled off the backing just a little bit, and then I pressed it to the wall. The reason why I'm doing that is because if I peeled the entire back off right now, there is a high likelihood that that wallpaper is going to stick to the wall in the wrong spot, and we do not want that. I don't think that anything would drive me more crazy than wallpaper at an angle. So we're not going to do that. So I just peeled a little bit of it down first, pressed it to the wall, and I'm also using a wallpaper scraper to get out any bubbles that may be trapped underneath the wallpaper. And I'm also using a level to make sure the wallpaper is placed on my wall straight. I use that large wallpaper scraper to get all the air bubbles out and pressed it firmly to the wall. Once the first wallpaper panel had been adhered to the wall, I moved on and I did the exact same thing to the second panel. I measured it out appropriately, peeled off the backing at the top, and then pressed the wallpaper firmly to the wall. Once again, that scraper got out any air bubbles and pressed it firmly to the wall. Once the second panel was in place, I moved on to the third and final panel. Again, I pressed it to the wall, removed the backing, used the scraper tool to make sure all of the air bubbles that may have been trapped had been pressed out from behind the wallpaper. And let me tell you, you are definitely going to need somebody else to help you. I am using my son Blake, who is a gem. He's going to be helping me with almost every project in this room. So get a buddy, it will help the process go that much faster. So he definitely helped me get that third wallpaper panel in place. As you can see, I am spacing out my 3 wallpaper panels because I want those panels to look like they're framed art. In order to do that, we need a frame. So we're gonna head on over to Lowe's and get some trim. I chose a decorative thin trim. I don't want this to overwhelm the wallpaper, but I do think a little bit of an ornate trim is going to be pretty in this space. So now that I've got my trim, let's head outside and cut it. It's time to cut our trim, and I've actually had a couple of you ask me for a little tutorial. So this is gonna be like a 20-second tutorial. First of all, you've got to have gloves on, and these are my safety goggles from Natalie. These are the Aaliyah ones, so make sure you've got safety first. My hair is back, so we are free of any clutter and anything else that we may have that could get in the way while we are sawing. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut 45-degree angles on the end of our trim. So we're gonna move this saw over to the 45-degree marker, and we're gonna lock it in place by doing that. And now you can see we're gonna bring our trim down like here, and now when I cut it, it's going to give me that 45-degree angle. So here we go. We're gonna cut now. I've got everything out of the way. Safety first, here we go. All right, so now we've got our 45-degree angle on the end of our trim. Now to do the opposite side, what we're gonna do is measure it first, and then we are going to take our miter saw once again. We are going to twist it around to the opposite 45-degree angle, and then that's gonna give us the opposite cut that goes the other way. On the opposite side, I have made a mark where I want the cut to be. And in order to test that out before I make it permanent, we can just bring the saw down, and you can see that the blade will line up with that mark, so I know that that's gonna be in the right spot. Here we go for the opposite side. Okay, now we've got our 45-degree angles on either side of my trim. Easy. Now that we're back inside, I'm going to swap out my miter saw for my nail gun, and as we nail this to the wall, we are definitely going to need a level. I have 2 levels. I have a really long one, and then I have this short one. These are key. This will help you to keep your trim precise and straight. This process went by fairly quickly because we were able to cut our pieces with our miter saw precisely. It was very easy to place these trim pieces right along the edge of our wallpaper and nail them into place. It's amazing how these pieces of trim finish off the wallpaper panels. Without the trim, they look like pieces of wallpaper simply stuck to the wall. With the trim, they look like stunning pieces of art. My amazing helper Blake and I were able to nail all of these pieces of trim to the wall in under 20 minutes, and wow, what a difference they make. Now it's time for the boring part. We've got to wood putty all of those holes and caulk. This is a very tedious process. It's one that I never look forward to, but it is definitely a necessity. This step makes our trim look professional and complete. So now let's take a step back and look at our stunning wallpaper panels. You guys, these are gorgeous. They turned out 100 times better than what I could have imagined. The floral detail and branches are stunning. I love the color too. We've got a neutral backdrop that coordinates with the wall color. The flowers add a soft, subtle pop of pink. The greenery is also neutral. It's almost like a pastel green. The trunks and branches meander in such an organic and scenic way. I have a hard time branching out into color. I know, crazy thought, right? I love white and gold, but branching out into this wallpaper really gave me a design and color scheme in this room that doesn't overwhelm the space. And the way that the wallpaper is trimmed out makes it look like art. I could not be happier with this show-stopping accent wall. So we're gonna be spending a lot of time in this room with this wallpaper behind us. So I hope you love it just as much as me. In my old office, I had a buffet that was pressed up against the wall that I worked on every single week for our projects. This was a stalwart. I've actually had a couple of you think that I was working in here on that credenza over there behind the couch below the mirror, but I was actually upstairs in my office and that's where I worked. Well, I don't want to bring that little buffet into my new office, so I needed something fresh and bright. I found a gorgeous buffet. It was the perfect width and color, and it had some really great details. Now, was it perfect? It was not. So I needed to change a few things about it. The first was the height. Now, I'm 5'8", so I'm tall, and I don't want to bend over a lot of times, so I needed to raise it up a little bit higher so that way I could get my crafts at a good level. So I purchased some feet on Amazon, and these feet are gonna give me the extra height I'm looking for. So I'm going to do a little modification. I drilled some holes in the bottom of the buffet, right on the corners, and then I got some L brackets and drilled those feet into the buffet. I purchased the L brackets at Lowe's. I was able to easily add them to the bottom to give me the extra height I needed. This is an easy way to customize your furniture. So if you want to add a little something extra to the pieces that you already have to freshen them up or to raise them up and make them more substantial, the feet are a great option. Now, the other thing that is wrong with this buffet is the color of the handles. Now, these round handles are actually what drew me to this buffet in the first place. I thought they were so stunning, so unique, and one of a kind. Now, the color is a little too dark. That is such an easy fix, so I took them outside and I sprayed them in some champagne colored Rust-Oleum spray paint. I made sure that the first side of the handles were painted in the spray paint. Once it was sufficiently coated, I let it dry for 1 hour. I came back, flipped the handles over, and painted the opposite side. Once this side was coated in the spray paint, I let it dry for an additional hour, and now I can add them to my buffet. I love this color so much more. It will coordinate with all the other items that we add to this room. So now I can place this large buffet up against the wall, and even though it is large, it doesn't cover up very much of our wallpaper, which is exactly what we want. We want that wallpaper to be the star, so you can still see the panel on the left and the panel on the right, and it hardly blocks anything in the center. So it's a perfect match for the room. It's also a timeless piece that will not go out of style. Next up, I need some new lamps. My lamps on the buffet in the old office did their duty. They were fantastic, but I need something a little more streamlined and classy that will coordinate with all the other items that we have in our room. I found these lamps on Amazon. They have a classic marble base, which makes them quite heavy. These things are not going to tip over. The gold posts are thin and streamlined, which makes them modern and contemporary. I love the touches of crystal accents, and the lampshades are classic, which makes our lamp feel traditional yet modern at the same time. We definitely need to add some extra lighting on our buffet so that we can see our projects appropriately. So not only are these lamps beautiful, but they are practical. And that is it for this blank wall. We have completely transformed it from basic and bland to beautiful and show-stopping. Even though we are going to be using this area to craft, we still want it to be gorgeous. And that's exactly what we were able to do. I love that as we walk into this room, this wall is the first thing that we see. It is definitely the focal point. There is nothing about this entire wall setup that I don't adore. Now that we have transformed this blank wall with our stunning wallpaper, we are going to shift our focus to the opposite side of the room. We have another blank wall over there and another blank space. I am envisioning a cozy seating area with a brand new couch, so when I have family and friends that want to come hang out with me in my new office, they have a comfortable and stylish place to relax. The sofa that I chose for this space is a 3-seater chenille Kiera sofa with birchwood base from Chita Living. If you're looking to elevate your room with a piece that is stylish and comfortable, then look no further than this beautiful sofa. First off, let's talk about how easy this sofa was to put together. It came beautifully boxed, and all I needed to do was screw on the legs. It took me less than 10 minutes. No complicated instructions, no step-by-step tutorial, just easy assembly. Let's talk about the design. I love the streamlined shape of the sofa. It fits in perfectly with my office transitional aesthetic. It's almost like those birch legs were made for this room because it coordinates identically with the color scheme on our wallpaper. The natural wood tone adds warmth, and the clean lines make it feel sleek without it being overly formal. The cross-textured chenille fabric is the real star here. It's got a subtle heathered look that feels sophisticated but still inviting. I went with a cream color because I want my space to be airy and bright. I also want it to be neutral so I can add pops of color and patterns like these diamond pillows. The chenille fabric on this couch is so soft, but it's practical for everyday use. And it's washable, so if you've got kids like I do or pets, do not worry. I accidentally got a little bit of a red mark on the sofa when I was unboxing it, and all I needed to do was get a damp rag and it came right up. So don't be concerned about the light color. In fact, you can unzip the pillows and the cushions. The fabric is OECO-TEX certified, so it's free from harmful chemicals, which is a huge plus for me since I spend hours in the office. Let's get into this sitting experience. You guys, this couch is very deep and it is so comfortable. The plush cushions strike the perfect balance. They're soft enough to sink into, but supportive enough that they don't feel like I'm drowning in them. I think the attention to detail on this sofa is really what sets it apart. The Kiera sofa looks like it belongs in a designer showroom, but it's priced for real people. I will leave a link to this sofa in my description box so you can head on over to Chita and check out all of the amazing furniture pieces that they have and select one that's right for you. Visit cheetahliving.com, use coupon code Lisa15 for 15% off, valid until September 18th. Now I have about a 4-foot space from the back wall to the door to the bathroom. It's kind of an awkward little space. So what I decided to do was get the Bombay chest that I had in my old office. This Bombay chest I actually purchased at the Bombay company when it was still in business, and I painted it white and added some gold trim. It's the perfect size and I love the shape of it. It's also going to be a great place for me to display some pretty little decor items. Now on top of the Bombay chest, I'm going to place a mirror. This is a large mirror. I purchased it at the thrift store and I gave it a makeover by painting the frame gold. I'm going to lean this up against the wall. Mirrors are fantastic in any space. Number one, because they reflect light back into the room. So if you have a dark space and you want some more light in it, get a mirror. It will reflect either the lighting from the chandelier or the lighting from the window, which is what it's doing in my office. And it also reflects the wallpaper, which I love. And secondly, it's timeless. Mirrors don't go out of style and they fit in with any design scheme. And then right in front of the mirror, I placed a large orchid floral arrangement. I love the way that the orchids are tall and regal, and the tall stems mimic the tall branches on our wallpaper. This little vignette is a beautiful addition to this awkward 4-foot wall. Now that the couch is in place and where I want it to be, I stood back and I looked at that wall and was very underwhelmed. We have such a beautiful wallpaper showpiece on one side of the room. We cannot leave this opposite wall blank. It just would not go together. So we need to create something equally as stunning. Now, after a lot of contemplation, I decided I wanted to put a whole bunch of trim on this wall to create some wall paneled moldings. And then I wanted to get some frames to create a gallery wall that we can put within the boxed moldings. So I once again needed to head back over to Lowe's and pick up some more trim. This time I got some chair rail and more of the same trim that we used to box out our wallpaper. Because I want this wall to look like one continuous wall panel, I need to paint the wall white. I am going to be using that same bare white polar bear paint that I have throughout my house just to keep everything cohesive. I rolled this paint onto the wall, and since I'm only doing one of the 4 walls, it actually went by fairly quick. And once the first coat of paint was done, I stood back and I looked at it and it looked terrible. It always does. Don't be concerned if you paint on your first coat of paint and it looks bad. It always does, so just don't worry about it. So put on another coat and it will look better, which is exactly what I did. I actually ended up doing 3 coats of paint because I wanted to make sure that it was 100% white. Once this wall had been painted, I let it dry overnight. We need to head back outside and cut some more trim. Now, the chair rail was really easy. I just needed a straight cut with that, and then I nailed it into the wall with my nail gun. And then on our smaller trim, what I'm doing again is just cutting these at that 45-degree angle. Easy. I did 6 long pieces and 6 short pieces. I cut the trim so I can create 3 boxes that are 63 inches long by 33 inches wide. The chair rail is a great jumping off point. Now I can measure exactly how high up I want my boxes to be. So once I had that all figured out, I can easily nail them to the wall. And this process once again went by very quickly because we had such great cuts from our miter saw outside. So we were able to nail up the trim in no time. So now that everything is in place, guess what time it is? It's time to use our wood putty and caulk and clean everything up. So I got my wood putty and I filled up all those holes, and then I caulked around the trim. This is very tedious, but I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. When it goes from DIY to professional, the caulk and the wood putty really takes it over the top. And then the last step was just to paint that trim the same color as the wall. If you notice, I did not add any trim to the bottom. That's because our couch is going to be pushed up against the wall. There was no need for me to add anything because it would have been covered up anyways. So we're leaving that blank. But now we're done with our stunning paneled wall. This was a very easy and inexpensive way to get a luxe look. Paneled walls are very expensive, but I was able to get that expensive look for around $100. And wow, what a way to embellish a completely blank wall. Now it's time to create our gallery wall, and I needed some frames. A 16 by 20 inch frame is really expensive, you guys. I looked online, and especially for a set of 6, they can get pricey. So what I did was I went over to Walmart and I found these giant 16 by 20 inch frames with this beautiful gold frame, because we're definitely going to be using gold, and they were under $10 a piece. That is a great price for this size. So I scooped up 6 of these, and then I also need some photos to go inside. Now I have 2 focal point walls in my room. One is the wallpaper wall, And that is what you guys are going to be seeing every single week when we're in there together. I am looking at the paneled wall, and I want to be able to look at my family. So what I'm going to do is add some family photos to these frames. Now I'm going to get some 11 by 14 sized family photos from Walgreens. I always use a coupon. They always have coupons for like 50% off. So each one of these 11 by 14 photos was about $7, which is a great price. So I'm going to fill up all my frames with these family photos. I've got pictures of us as a family. I've got pictures of all of my children. I have pictures of me and Ken. And then I also have the most recent picture of Ellie and Mac on their wedding day. This is a sentimental wall that is going to bring me a lot of joy as I look at it every single day and remember what my real treasure is in life. It is definitely my family. Plus, I want this room to be more like a lounge. We've got that couch in there, so when I've got family and friends that come into my room, they can look at the family photos, which I think is so fun. And it's also a classy and timeless way to display some family photos. Next up, let's take a look at that lighting. Oh boy, I have a love-hate relationship with fans. They are practical and we love the air circulation, but they are not as pretty as a gorgeous chandelier. So guess what? We want pretty things in this room. We don't need a practical fan. I'm sure there will be opinions one way or another, but I'm taking it down and I'm going to add another gorgeous crystal chandelier. So down that fan went, and I'm not sad about it at all. The new chandelier that I purchased is from Amazon. And if you took the chandelier that's right here in the breakfast room and the chandelier in my bedroom and combined them, that is what this new chandelier looks like. It's long, it's got these pretty little gold branches on it, which is going to go beautifully with the branches that we have on the wallpaper. And of course, we need some sparkle and shine. It's got these pretty crystal teardrop chandelier pieces that hang elegantly from the branches. Not only is this a beautiful light fixture, but it's got 14 light bulbs, so it is definitely going to brighten up this space. The last thing we want to be doing is crafting and DIYing in a dark room. It's going to look a lot better filming in a bright area. We are getting down to the end of this room makeover and it's looking so good. But what I want to add to the floor is a rug. This is a great way that you can bring in some color and texture. I am not purchasing a new rug. I have already spent too much money on all the things in our room. So I'm actually just going to borrow this rug from another room. This is a neutral rug. It's got some white and tan and beige, which is fantastic. It's very soft and I love how it gives this room some additional warmth. The other item that we are adding, of course, is the desk. I love my desk. I made it myself. I created it out of 2 side tables. I removed the tops, I painted the iron legs, and then I crafted a topper out of wood and added some trim around it, and then placed the topper on top of the legs. This is a great size desk. It's large. We're still gonna be able to do all of our projects on top of it. And I love how the scroll work and the gold add that elegant touch to this room. Are you ready for the big reveal? It's time. Come on in and let me show you. After many weeks and months of planning, my office/craft room is finally done. I am in love with this space. It's light, fresh, bright, classic, elegant, all the adjectives. I want to be able to walk into this space and feel like I'm home. The wallpaper panels steal the show with their elegant flowers and branches and trim. I love our new buffet. It's going to be a perfect place for us to craft. The paneled wall with our gallery framed photos is not only classy but personal. We've got our new couch so we can sit and lounge. We've got brand new lighting and elements from our old room like the desk and the Bombay chest that make this space feel familiar and cozy. I am not 100% done with this room quite yet. There are 2 more additions that I have coming shortly. One is a chair, because my old chair from my old office is literally on its last leg. It's not coming with us. It's staying, it's going away. We're gonna get a new pretty one. And then I'm also going to get some new drapery panels to go in there. The panels that we have in there right now are fine, but we want to up the elegant factor a little bit on the drapes. You and I are going to be spending a lot of time in this new office space, because guess what? This is home. This is where we're going to be starting right now. My old office is not going to be vacant. My daughter Violet has decided that she would like to move into there, so we are doing another room makeover in that room. Right now we have a trundle bed that's brand new, that's assembled, and she loves, but I'm going to take a break for a minute, so just stay tuned for that. It'll be coming in the next month or so. So we've got some exciting things coming up. Of course, we've got more DIYs, we've got more high-end projects that I know that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed so you can join in on all of the weekly fun. I hope you got some inspiration or some ideas today that you can take from my office makeover and put them into your own home. I will leave links to everything that I can in my description box, from the buffet to the wallpaper to the couch to the paneling to the light fixture. I'll try and leave everything in there so you can get a closer look at the items I used. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.